fast you were going?
What? How fast you were going?
I don't know. 10?
8.
Be advised, this is an explicit podcast. If you're easily offended, get your panties twisted into a knot. Leave now. Run in your safe space. Get your little cloth for your tears. All the opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and his guest and do not reflect the opinions of any local or government agency.
Give me some units, 6-3 and bail. Keep the air clear. Who is this and what you got? Blue Cubs jersey. All right, Blue Cubs jersey, Mel Black. He's running 6-3 and bail, 76-37 after you got the air. Mel Black's the Blue Cubs jersey. What's he wanted for? 6-3 and bail. Mel Black, Blue, what you got? Blue, officer down. I got an officer down, 10-1, 10-1, 6-3 and bail, officer down, shots fired at the police, officer down, Mel Black, a Blue Cubs jersey, he's shot at the police, 6-3 and bail, give me some units. 7-1-3. Stay off my air, everybody stay off the air, I got an officer down, 6-3 and bail, start rolling. I got an officer down, 6-3 and bail, officer down, 6-3 and bail, give me some units. I want a perimeter set up at the location looking for a Mel Black with a Blue Cubs shirt, with a Mel Black. Perimeter set up, 2 blocks east, north. Okay, I got a all black. Give me 2 ambulances needed for 2 officers down, 7637 Adam, 10-4, we got him coming. 6-1 boy. Get those officers right, that's 6-3 and bail. I want a perimeter set up 3 blocks north, south, east, west of that location. I got a Mel Black in a blue shirt, Cubs jersey, officers down. Somebody gets over there. We got paramedics coming, 2 ambulances. Ambulance. 10-4, we got them coming, baby, stay off the air. I want people looking, guys, last scene, southbound for the location. Got a Mel Black in a blue jersey, 61, you're on the scene. I want a helicopter. Got 63, 29 bells. 10-4. 10-4, we got PH1, we rolling, guys. I think I might have hit the one. Female with the emergency, go with it. Slow it down. We got 2 in custody. Okay. 2 officers shot. Fall out. 2 minutes. Stop. Stop the car there, guys. Stop the car at the tip. Guys, listen. Got 2 officers down. We need a perimeter, guys. 6-3. We got 2 in custody right now. 2 in custody. I need a perimeter, guys. Start a route to the hospital. Give me PH1. We need a paramedic to UFC. We need action to our town. We're taking what I'm doing. 10-4, we're going to UFC Hospital. Set me up a perimeter to UFC Hospital, guys. Give me a route. Going 6-3, you're going east from 63rd. Take it all the way east, going to 63rd. 10-4, 6-3. We're going to take it eastbound. Are we taking both officers, guys? Get us to 10-1-6-3 and Bell. We're transporting both officers to UFC Hospital. I want all of 63 going eastbound stop. All traffic eastbound 63 stop. I got 2 officers down. We're taking to the hospital. Give me a perimeter and stop all of those streets. Who's got a route for me? Talk to me. Look, all the way to 63 and West End. All the way down to 60 and Dandy. Everything needs to be blocked on both sides. Get us to the 10-1. I get a route set up. Eastbound 63, take it down to Western. All traffic, eastbound 63 to Western. We're taking it to UFC for the 10-1 to officer shot. What is this one, the Holy Cross? We have an officer in our car. We're going to UFC with him. We're going down 63rd to State to 5555 over. Listen to me, officer. Officers going to Holy Cross. That's down a trauma center. We got to get them to a trauma center, guys. Take them to UFC. They're a trauma center. Go to UFC. Don't go to Holy Cross. Down a trauma center. Take them both to UFC for now. UFC. Solid officer. Approaching 63 Halstead. Approaching 6-3 in Halstead now. 6-3 in Halstead. All units 6-3, Damon and Western Block. We're going to UFC. Service of my 6 killer officer. Okay, we got you guys. Just call out the location of where you're at. UFC is notified. 731, what's the condition of... Stand by. 731, what's the condition? That's your partner, Rap. P.O. Rap. He's with us. P.O. Rap. What's the condition of the officer in your vehicle?
He's talking right now, squad.
Okay, 10-4. Whoever has my other officer, what's the condition, guys?
726, she's not responsive, she's unconscious. She's looking blue from the face. I'm heading right now north on 67 Halston, about a 60 distance down to east. She's good.
Alright, 10-4. We got him going, guys.
First squad, not my first.
Okay, listen to me. Take that damn vest off right now and start compression. Start breathing, whatever we gotta do. Start it now. While you're driving, the officer in the back with her, take the vest off and start compression now. You got the air.
726, compression started almost 15 minutes ago.
Okay, excellent. Keep it rolling, baby. Keep it rolling. We got it coming. They know you're coming in. And units that are at UFC Hospital, have those doors open for me. Have them open, guys. Have them ready. Go ahead, boy.
644, we got the male officer. He's here. They got him in the CR right now. Side door to the emergency room is open. Bring him through the emergency room side.
Right, bring him to the emergency room side, guys. Guys, male officer going to the ER. Bring him to the emergency room. And the other female officer, please get her in there, guys. Make it quick. Be safe getting there, but make it quick.
R3, repeat that last transition.
Shot in the head between the eyes. Both officers are responsible in the hospital. UFC. Keep the air clear.
Looking for offenders?
We have 2 in custody. Are these our only guys that were shooting guys in custody?
6-foot boy, 6328. I put the other one in custody. The son being guarded by my partner, so we can get the EC over here to recover.
Are these both the guys who shot? Are these both our offenders?
The fourth bud.
Welcome, MOTORCOP Chronicles podcast. It's in the watch episode for July 2022. That is the audio from Chicago Police Department about a year or so ago when some officers were shot. If y'all are wondering what that is, gives you kind of a clue of what goes on and stuff. So y'all know this ain't my favorite episodes to do at all. We had 16 officers lost their lives in July. A little bit less than last month, but 16 still too much. So we're gonna read each one of them's names, where they worked, and how they passed. So we're gonna say each one of their names, because instead of hollering criminal names, we can holler some heroes' names instead. So let's get started. First one's going to be Police Officer Jacob Russell Chaffins from Princetonburg Police Department in Kentucky. His end of watch was Friday, July 1st, 2022. Cause of death was gunfire. He was 28 years old, had 3 years on the job. He was a military veteran. Police Officer Jacob Chaffins and Deputy Sheriff William Petrie of the Floyd County Sheriff's Office were both shot and killed in Allen by a subject who was wanted for domestic violence. Several warrants in a protective order had been issued for the man after he assaulted a family member. As 2 Floyd County deputies arrived at the man's home on Main Street to serve the warrants, the man opened fire on them. Numerous jurisdictions responded to assist following the initial shooting. The man fired hundreds of rounds from pre-positioned firearms throughout the home. So he sounds like he was laying in wait. Deputy Petrie and Captain Frazier were killed during the incident. Officer Chaffin succumbed to his wounds the following day. 3 other law enforcement officers and the Director of Emergency Management were wounded. K-9 Drago, also the Floyd County Sheriff's Office, was killed in this incident. The subject was taken into custody after remaining barricaded in the home for several hours. He was charged with multiple counts of murder of police officers, attempted murder of police officers, and assaulting a service animal. Officer Chaffins was also a Kentucky National Guard veteran and served with the Princetonburg Police Department for 3 years. He is survived by his wife, daughter, mother, 2 brothers, and 3 sisters. I remember reading about this one. So, young man died. A lot of people left behind. They were a dirtbag, and of course he gave up. Next we have Sergeant John K. Williams, Corville Police Department. End of watch was Sunday, July 3rd, 2022. Cause of death was duty-related illness. This was in Iowa. He was 59 years old, had 28 years on the job. Sergeant passed away after suffering a medical emergency following his response to a shooting call. The shooting occurred in an apartment complex and involved a 3-year-old victim. Sergeant was on the scene of the incident when he began to experience symptoms of an acute medical emergency. He was transported to a local hospital where he passed away a short time later. He had served with the same police department for 28 years. He's survived by his wife, 4 children, and 6 grandchildren. Next, we have Police Officer Lauren Michael Courts of the Detroit Police Department in Michigan. End of watch was July the 6th, 2022. Cause of death was gunfire. He was 40 years old, 5 years on the job. He was killed with a AK-47. He was shot and killed while he responded to a shooting call near the intersection of Joy Road and Marlowe Street at about 7:30 p.m. When Officer Courts and his partner arrived on the scene, the subject immediately began shooting at them, strafing Officer Courts while he was still in his patrol car. After being shot, Officer Courts put the car in reverse, and he and his partner jumped out of the car to take cover. His partner tried to save him by applying pressure to his wounds with her back toward the approaching gunman. The subject had come downstairs from a building, pointing the gun at the 2 officers. Other officers who had arrived on the scene shot and killed the suspect. The man who sold the gun to the suspect has been charged with illegally purchasing a firearm. The shooter had a criminal record and cannot buy weapons legally. Officer Courts had served with the Detroit Police Department for 5 years and was assigned to the 2nd Precinct. He is survived by his wife, son, daughter, and his parents. His father had recently retired from the Detroit Police Department. We got Police Officer Brian Olaf from the Natchitoches Police Department in Louisiana. And the watch was Saturday, July 16th, 2022. He died from heat stroke. Excuse my allergies. He was 52 years old, 20 years on the job. Police Officer Brian Olaf died from suffering a heat-related medical event while working in the city's downtown district. He had served with the Natchitoches Police Department for 20 years and concurrently served with the Natchitoches Parish Sheriff's Office. He previously served with the Sabine Parish Sheriff's Office. He is survived by his wife, 4 children. One of his sons also serves with the Natchitoches Parish Sheriff's Office. It has been a very, very hot summer down there. Next, we have Under Sheriff Larry Korean from the Berlano, however you say it, County Sheriff's Office in New Mexico. End of watch was Saturday, July 16th. He died in an aircraft accident. He was 55 years old, 25 years on the job. It says Under Sheriff Larry Korean, Deputy Sheriff Michael Levinson, and Lieutenant Fred Bears were all killed when the agency's helicopter, Metro 2, crashed near Las Vegas in New Mexico. Rescue Specialist Matthew King of the County Fire Department was also killed in the crash. He was returning from Albuquerque after assisting fire crews at the East Mesa Fire. They were returning to Albuquerque after conducting bucket drops when the crash occurred at about 7:20 p.m. Under Sheriff Korean had served with the County Sheriff's Office for 25 years. He survived by his wife, 2 sons, and 2 sisters. We have Lieutenant Fred Beers from that county sheriff's office in New Mexico, July 16th, 2022. He was 51. He had 31 years, 6 months on the job. He was a veteran. He was also in the helicopter when it went down. He was a United States Air Force veteran. He had served with the county sheriff's office there for 13 years. He survived by his wife, son, father, and 2 sisters. Deputy Sheriff Michael Adam Levinson, same sheriff's office in New Mexico, July 16th, 2022. He was 30 years old, 5 years on the job. He was also a military veteran. He is survived by his mother, father, stepmother, 3 brothers, and a sister, a grandmother, and a girlfriend. A grandparent shouldn't have to bury one of their grandchildren for sure. Patrolman Vincent Anthony Parks from Jonesboro Police Department in, I believe, Arkansas. End of watch was Sunday, July 17th. Cause of death was duty-related illness. He was 38 years old. He had been on the job for 1 month. He passed away after collapsing while participating in physical exercises at the Central Arkansas Law Enforcement Training Academy facility at Camp Robinson. He started showing signs of distress and was able to walk to the ambulance before collapsing. Central Arkansas area was under a heat advisory at the time. Patrolman Park had served with the Jonesboro Police Department for only 1 month. He survived by his wife, daughter, mother, sister, and grandmother. We have Police Officer Daniel Vasquez, North Kansas City Police Department. End of watch was July 19th, 2022. Cause of death was gunfire. This was in Missouri. He was 32 years old, had 2 years on the job. He was shot and killed while making a traffic stop near the intersection of 21st Street and Clay Street at about 10:40 a.m. The driver of the vehicle shot Officer Vasquez before fleeing. A backup officer arrived at the scene, began CPR on Officer Vasquez, and who was transported to a nearby hospital where he succumbed to his wounds a short time later. The suspect who shot him turned himself in at the Kansas City Police Department approximately 3 hours later. He served with the police department for 2 years. Some piece of shit just probably shot him for no apparent reason and went and turned himself in. We have Sergeant Christopher James Nelson of the Edmond Police Department in Oklahoma. End of watch was July 19th, 2022. Cause of death was an automobile crash. He was 38 years old, 15 years on the job. Sergeant C.J. Nelson was killed when his police motorcycle was struck by a utility truck on Broadway Extension at Comfort Drive at 3 o'clock p.m. The utility truck was driving northbound at a high rate of speed when it struck Sergeant Nelson's motorcycle and several vehicles that were stopped at the light. Sergeant Nelson was transported to the medical center where he died from his injuries. The driver of the truck was charged with manslaughter and second-degree murder. Preliminary blood tests showed the presence of amphetamines and methamphetamine in the driver's system. Sergeant Nelson was 1 day shy of his 13-year anniversary with the Edmond Police Department and had previously served with the Honolulu Police Department for 2 years. He survived by his wife, daughter, son, mother, stepfather, father, and brother, all because some fucking piece of shit, dirtbag, dopehead decided to get high and drive. Police Officer Anthony Patrick, I'm going to slaughter this man's last name. I'll spell it Mazurkiewicz. I'm not even going to attempt to say it. Rochester Police Department in New York. End of watch was Thursday, July 21st, 2022. Cause of death was gunfire. He was 54 years old, 29 years on the job. He was shot and killed while conducting surveillance on Bowman Street at 9:15 p.m. as part of a murder investigation. He and another officer were in an unmarked vehicle while the subject walked up from behind and fired 17 rounds. The other officer exited the passenger side and returned fire, but did not strike the subject, who fled. The officer was shot at least twice in the upper body. He was transported to Strong Memorial Hospital where he succumbed to his wounds. His partner was shot in the lower body and transported to Rochester General Hospital where he was treated and released. A 15-year-old girl was grazed by a bullet that entered her home during the ambush. The subject was found an hour later hiding in a crawl space in a vacant house. He has been charged with second-degree murder, attempted second-degree murder, second-degree assault, and 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon. He had served with the Rochester Police Department for 29 years, previously served with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. He is survived by his wife, 4 children, 3 grandchildren, his parents, brother, and a sister. We have Deputy Sheriff Matthew Yates from Clark County Sheriff's Office in Ohio. End of watch was July 24th, 2022. Cause of death, gunfire. He was 41 years old. He had 15 years on the job. Deputy Sheriff Yates was shot and killed while responding to a shots fired call at 10:51 a.m. They received a 911 call reporting that a female subject had broken into a residence and fired 5 or 6 shots. When the deputy arrived and another deputy attempted to check the mobile home, they were met with gunfire. Deputy Yates was shot inside the trailer and was transported inside. It was trapped inside for hours during the standoff with the subject. Clark County Special Operations and other TAC teams were called to rescue him. Deputy Yates was flown to Miami Valley Hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. A second deputy was injured trying to escape the gunfire. Deputy Yates has served with the Clark County Sheriff's Office for 15 years. He is survived by his wife, daughter, 2 stepsons, a father who retired from the same sheriff's office. Next, we have Mounted Deputy Nicole Schuff, Clare County Sheriff's Department in Michigan. End of watch was Friday, July 29th, 2022. Cause of death was animal related. She was 33 years old, 2 years on the job. She succumbed to her injury sustained 4 days earlier when the horse she was riding fell. The horse she was riding fell as responded to a medical call at the Clare County Fair. I think she was responding to a medical call, and the horse fell. She was getting off her horse to render aid to the citizen when the horse suddenly lost its footing and fell backwards. Deputy Scuff suffered a serious head injury as a result. The deputy was kept on life support so her organs could be donated. She had served as a volunteer deputy with the Clare County Sheriff's Office for 2 years. She survived by her husband, so she was like a reserve. Like the horse fell on her. And she got a head injury and died. Next we have Deputy Sheriff Lorenzo Bustos of the Smith County Sheriff's Office in Texas. End of watch was Friday, July 29th. Cause of death was vehicular assault. He was 29 years old. He had 2 years, 6 months on the job. He was struck and killed by a drunk driver at about 12:50 while making a traffic stop. He and his field training officer had conducted a traffic stop shortly before midnight and had taken 2 occupants of the vehicle into custody. While they were completing their investigation of the initial traffic stop, another vehicle struck Deputy Bustos as he stood behind his patrol SUV. The impact pushed the deputy beneath the patrol vehicle. His partner, who was sitting in the passenger seat at the time of the crash, immediately started rendering aid. The deputy was transported to a local hospital where he succumbed to his injuries 5 hours later. The driver who struck him was charged with intoxication manslaughter. He had served with the county sheriff's office for 6 months, and was on his final night of field training. He had previously served with the Russ County Sheriff's Office for 1 year and Henderson Police Department for 1 year. He is survived by his wife and 3 children. Don't drink and drive. Not worth it at all. Deputy Sheriff 2, Jamie Reynolds, Spalding County Sheriff's Office in Georgia. End of watch was July 31st, 2022. Cause of death was an automobile crash. He was his age is not available. He had been on tour there for 27 years. He was killed when a large pine tree fell on his patrol car as he drove along Georgia Highway 16 near Shoal Creek Road. The tree crushed the passenger cabin of the vehicle, killing Deputy Reynolds instantly. Deputy Reynolds had served with the County Sheriff's Office for 2 years and had previously served with the Forest Park Police Department for 25 years. I mean, until a tree just falls on a car. It's the last one. Police officer Noah Shinarevez, I'm slaughtering it, Shahnavaz. I've seen it on Facebook a lot lately. I guess that. Elwood Police Department in Indiana. End of watch was Sunday, July 31st, 2022. The cause of death was gunfire. He was 24 years old. He had been on the job for 11 months. He was also a military veteran. In this picture here, you can see how young he was. Look at the kid. He was shot and killed while making a traffic stop near the intersection of Madison Avenue and Route 37 about 2 a.m. The driver of the vehicle he stopped exited his car and opened fire on the officer before fleeing in his car. The man then led officers on a pursuit after he was located in Hamilton County. The subject continued to fire at the officers during the pursuit until officers with the Fishers Police Department conducted a pit maneuver. The officer was transported to a local hospital and then flown to a hospital in Indianapolis where he succumbed to his wounds. The suspect who shot him was a convicted felon who had previously been convicted of shooting a police officer in Indianapolis. It was kind of funny. He was out of jail, huh? He was charged with the murder and other charges after murdering the officer. I wonder if he'll stay in jail this time since he done killed 2 cops now. The officer was a U.S. Army veteran and had served with the Elwood Police Department for 11 months. He was survived by his parents and his siblings. So, this man probably should have never been out of jail in the first place. This young man. I mean, he killed him for no reason. Probably because he was speeding or something. Just pieces of shit. But these judges and all these woke politicians and DAs believe, just let them out. Of course, we had K9 Frankie, Massachusetts State Police. End of watch was on Tuesday, July 26th, of gunfire. We talked about that one a while ago. I apologize for my allergies here today. It's bad. We had 16 this past month. We had 19 last month, so at least it's not as many. You notice there's a lot of law enforcement professionals dying of gunfire. The total for the year is 150, which is down like 43% because we had a lot of COVID last year. Of course, we have 39 have died from gunfire, which is up 11%. 33 from automobile accidents, 70 from medical, and 8 from other. That's like I said. If you're a religious person, say a prayer for them, say a prayer for their family. If not, just keep them on your mind. Yeah, we're gonna say their names. We said their names. Better than saying some criminal's name. We're gonna give them their taps. Some tribute music going out, and everybody. Just stay safe out there. Pay attention. Watch your back. Watch your partner's back. So there's lots of bad guys out there. People, most of them gave their lives just trying to keep the streets safe for the general citizens. People that don't even like them, and they give their lives for them. So they're true heroes in my book, anyway. So, y'all stay safe out there.
Some have said that time heals, but gathered together here today, we know that's not true. The facts still remain. The empty chair, the unfulfilled dreams, the pain, the hurt, the loneliness. We ask your blessing upon the families who have been impacted by the loss of a loved one in the line of duty.
Raise your hand and you took an oath to pledge your life in the words you spoke for people that don't care or even know you. You trained for months, now it's time to go out on the streets where we all know the danger and the hatred makes it to you. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. You pin your badge right up on your chest to symbolize duty for the rest, to keep them safe at night when safety fools you. You pulled a man from his burning car, but his child who died has left a scar. You live with that for life, but no one helps you. On his wife, she screams at you as you find his knife. She called you there to start with, and she booed you. You pin the man as he grabs your gun. He starts to ball and you try to run. You gain control and you do what you have to do now. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. You get the call that your friend's been shot by a man on a traffic stop. You spend the whole night searching for the killer. And people praise and people hate our boys in blue, but we know our fate will die for